Hi guys, welcome to another episode of The Aspiring Entrepreneur. I'm your host Hamza Chowdhury, and today I have a guest who started his own food truck business, and I wanted to spend some time for some of us who are interested in opening up our own food truck business, how we can. And the specific thing with this gentleman here is that his brand is completely exploding around the Bay Area, and I had the chance, and he was nice enough to join us today to talk about it. Hisham, Orale Habibi.
Orale Habibi.
And that's the slogan that's taken everyone by storm. I have it on my cap, I have it on my shirt, and we're going to learn more about what Orale Habibi is. But before we do so, Hisham has been completely successful with many restaurants experience. He's been a head chef, an executive chef, and it was like yesterday that I met you, I felt like, and you had just sort of this vision of halal Mexican food. And I can't tell you guys how fast it went from just meeting him and just learning about the concept to all of a sudden it was like, hey, we're ready to open. And so I thought it'd be very beneficial to do a sort of a guest interview to understand how do you start your own food truck business from someone who just did that, from someone who just finished it and just launched his business 6 months ago and has received several awards both locally and statewide on recognizing his sort of really some of the best Mexican food we've had. I know we love it, absolutely. You know, my family, we're there pretty much every week to the point where we actually are officially on a diet because of that. So, you know, thank you for coming and welcome to the channel.
Hey, thank you. I'm really happy to be here, Hamza.
So where does your interest in halal and Mexican food come from?
Oh, man. Well, authentic Mexican food derives deep inside of me. I come from mixed backgrounds, but I consider myself of Latino Mexican descent because of the melting pot of what we live in here in California, in San Jose, amongst Latinos, working for 19 years in the food industry amongst Latinos, learning Spanish, working in the food industry amongst Latinos. So, you know, when I dove deeper in my religion, Islam, several years ago, I decided to only eat halal. And then I felt like I was stripped away from a big part of what was a big part of me that loved the Mexican culture, loved Mexican food. At the time, I was doing halal burgers, and I was getting off work late with the team, and we were going to these taco trucks, and I couldn't eat anything. And I'm sure a lot of people watching or listening to this can relate that only eat halal. And I said, hey, man, there is a gap here that needs to be bridged. And we all like making, Mexican food. And who doesn't like tacos, So we got to do this. We have to do this. This happened a few years ago. So, coronavirus pandemic hit, and it kind of fast forwarded everything because we all lost our jobs. Yeah. Pandemic kind of crushed us a little bit. And I just said, let's do this. Let's all go in right now. Wow. Let's put this whole industry on wheels. And people need to eat, and we want to feed them, and we need to get paid to survive. So,
and we've talked about, in this pandemic, how many people are pivoting in their lives? How many people have to pivot? You lost your job, God forbid you lost a loved one, and you're at that point of your life where you're in a crossing road, right? Like you're wondering what's next. And it's just interesting that someone like you, just, you come off as young and hungry. Yeah, being an entrepreneur, right, which is what our channel is about, is being hungry. You have to be hungry in order to come out of, like you said, the coronavirus. People are losing jobs, people are unemployed, people are losing loved ones, and to just sort of wake up and just pivot in your life and create this sort of new concept. And halal Mexican food is unheard of. It's not, what's out there is not that great, just being perfectly honest from my experience. And there's other options out there, and it's just amazing to me that you recognize a niche for yourself. And I think, do you feel like maybe the niche has been why you've been so successful so fast? Because I'm wondering, unlike, let's say, for example, creating a food truck of just any Mexican food, you're catering to something that seems high in demand and is not out there. And we talk about clean food, we talk about the clean food movement, being a vegetarian, being a vegan, and how restaurants have catered to those now with sort of strict dietary restrictions. And so I think that it's just fascinating that you found a niche for yourself. And I think, do you feel like that's why you've grown as fast as you've grown?
Yes and no. I think that anyone who's passionate behind whatever they do will be successful at it, and it will be recognized by people who love food and who love culture. But at the same time, also with Mexican food or Latin food, it is not. Take it from me, who doesn't come directly from a Mexican family. Mexican authentic food is hard. It is hard. It is one of the hardest food type of food that I've ever had to create with my team in my career. And anyone who does it and does it well, hats off to them. You're going to be successful. Now, yes, we found a little bit of a niche, and it has been working for us. But we are not only we don't only focus on serving halal eating people. We want to wow everybody. We want to make halal Mexican food, authentic food, and we want specifically the Latinos to be really wowed by us, and because they have something great and they have something amazing, and everybody should be a part of it, you know?
That's great. I mean, that's great. And it's interesting how you keep using this word authentic, because I mean, I was, I was born in Jersey. I, lived pretty much in California, from Fresno, California. And, I mean, let's be honest, right? When we think American Mexican food, we think, right, Taco Bell.
Yeah.
And I remember like a few years ago, and, I grew up with Latinos too, and it was just fascinating to find like tacos isn't real, you know what I mean? Like, it's not real Mexican food. There's a lot of this food that we have isn't even Mexican food. So the fact that you're sort of introducing us to like real authentic Mexican food, I think that's awesome. So for you, viewers out there who are looking to create a food truck concept, the idea is create something not only that you're obviously you can tell he's passionate about, but that is going to be successful. And it's going to be successful if you're really catering to a crowd that there's a demand. And if there's a demand for something, you can expect that you're going to get a good turnout. And so just real quick, instead of opening up a restaurant, what got you specifically interested in a food truck business? Because this episode's about how to start a food truck business. So why would you specifically go from a brick and mortar to just a food truck?
Well, the biggest, and that's a great question. I mean, the biggest issue we've always had, and a lot of restaurants can probably relate, is the capital. We come from humble beginnings. My partners, our team, we don't have a whole lot of money. We're probably middle class at that. So, but we really wanted to do something for ourselves. It was, getting to a brick and mortar is definitely a long-term goal for us, and a big goal for us, and something that we were working towards before the pandemic hit. We weren't thinking food truck until the pandemic hit, and because of the money situation, and when it hit, we were like, okay, let's put this on wheels. People need to eat. We want to serve them. Yeah. But capital, we started the day that we opened, Hamza. I probably had $100 to my name,
Wow.
and
Incredible.
Didn't know how we were going to pay anything, but what we had was a great foundation. We had a good team, and we had great support, and we were very confident in our food. So how could we fail? And we went out with that risk, and you know what? We're risking our life every day outside anyway in this pandemic. So let's just go. Let's go. Like, that's how we are. And maybe that's the Palestinian blood in me, so.
That's incredible. So, just having that fighting spirit and not like quitting and giving up, and $100 to your name. I mean, let's be honest, that would make me nervous. I mean, we're in California, we're in San Jose. We know, we have the highest minimum wage, we have the highest living cost in the country.
Yeah.
So I just think that, again, that fighting spirit is something I've already sort of noticed, is that when you have this idea, you have this concept, you have this niche, you have to have the fighting spirit. When the tough gets tougher, right? If you get, sort of down, it's going to be really hard to be successful. And I could just tell from talking to you that you were determined to make this happen, no matter what obstacles. So let's kind of switch gears here and say, let's talk about the brand. So how do, if I'm sitting here, I'm watching this episode, I want to create a food truck business, we could talk about maybe briefly like the cost, like what am I looking at as a capital investment?
It just really depends. It really depends what you want to do. It depends on, to get personal, it depends on your credit. You could actually finance a food truck here in the South Bay. There's a lot of good food truck financing places with good credit and a substantial down payment. You can start it, but you also have to think of everything else. You got to think about your commissary, where you're preparing your food, where you're ordering food, where your food is going, all that stuff, right? You got to think of all the steps, the permitting. All the permits you have to get, everything from the DMV to the health department to the city, right? And then the counties. So it's hard, and all of that costs money. It's all money, baby. So, I would say it just really if you're going to start a food truck, keep it as simple as possible, and stay passionate. Don't take no for an answer. And to answer your question, you can do it with resilience. You could do it with 40K, you know, and all the way up to $200,000. It just really depends on what you want to do. So yeah.
And is 40K like just a used, like, are you going like a used food truck and it's already ready to go? Or what if I have to like get a food truck and sort of cater it to my business?
Yeah, you can find some used stuff out there, but I would tell you to be go with caution, because laws are changing all the time. The health department requirements require different things all the time. They're constantly changing. And then, you know, having an older food truck, or a food truck in general, it is like popcorn, you know, and it's like that in restaurants anyway. Every day something new. You know, a pump goes down, your lights don't turn on, your generator goes down, you don't have gas, the engine in you, whatever. Like it's something goes wrong every single day. And I commend anyone doing a food truck or a restaurant. And for everybody that doesn't understand that what happens, you know, be patient, because we're really trying hard. We are, you know.
Okay, so basically it's a fraction of what it costs a brick and mortar. For a lot of you guys probably don't know, I actually used to run a food truck. My wife and I, we have a handful of dessert shops that we ran, and I ran a food truck for a few years. And like you mentioned, how many festivals I went to where all of a sudden the starter, right, the truck won't start, or you know, there's just something wrong with the truck, and you have to go to that event, and it's like the worst feeling. I remember showing up in the middle of a festival. And it was a Halal food festival in 2019, I believe. Yeah, it was 2019. And so I show up literally in the middle of a festival with my food truck, and the line was amazing. I mean, we did phenomenal, but it was like dead in the middle, where I had to be escorted through a bunch of crowds just to get my truck parked. And you know, only going in the business and being through the business, you would understand. Like, yeah, it's literally every day is a new day. There's a new problem. So we can say that that's common more or less in all businesses, that you're going to have problems, and it takes a leader to sort of overcome that and not quit. So hats off to you.
Thank you
for going through it. So one of the things that we should talk about, you know, it's 2021 and social media plays a big role in any business. And if you're not on social media and you're not marketing, I don't care how successful you are, you're missing out. You are everywhere on social media, on Instagram, on Facebook. We see you, we hear about you, we hear about anything, we hear about what people are saying. What role does social media play for you specifically in El Halal Amigos?
It is, when you're talking in terms of marketing, it's 100%. That's how it's free marketing. And we put ourselves out there, and we try our best to get as many viewers as possible, because that's our way of communicating to them. We're on a food truck. Yes, we try our best to stay at one location, but we're on wheels. We'd like to get everyone fed in the Bay Area. So that is our way of communication and getting people excited about what we're doing. We're making amazing food. We're doing it with our hearts. We want to put it out there. So social media is what drives our business 100%.
That's awesome. So if you don't have a Facebook, if you don't have an Instagram, I can be honest, I'm not TikTok. You got your TikTok videos too, and I've seen you everywhere. I mean, this guy, his energy level is incredible. I have to keep up with him, and you know, it's just amazing, because you make it fun. You make food fun. Yeah. When restaurants are always, you know, more on the serious side, and there's maybe tons of delicious restaurants, but how many people are on social media sort of broadcasting that, making it fun and showing off what you've created, which is from scratch. I mean, you've created some phenomenal recipes, and your food, I mean, it's just phenomenal, and it gets better every time we go there. We're just like, this food is just better and better, and I mean, you put something in there to keep us going. So if I want to buy, so let's just real quick talk about, okay, so if I want to buy a food truck today, where am I going? Like, where specifically do I go buy a food truck? Do I go on Craigslist? Do I go online? Where do I go buy a food truck if I want to buy one today?
I would advise you to use everything and compare it all. There's manufacturers in Hayward and San Jose, and all the way up to Stockton and Sacramento. And I would talk to all of them and see what they have to offer you. I would advise you to create a business plan, create a budget, and plan as much as possible. Plan, but expect change at all times. And then if you were looking for more of the deal, I mean, Craigslist, watch out for scams, but Craigslist would be a good spot, or simply posting something on your own personal Facebook, word of mouth, things. And there's commissary for food trucks. I know there's one, Lee's Industrial Catering. I know that there's one there off Gish Road. maybe go there and talk to them. There's a lot of food trucks that do sit around and that need to be sold, and people don't even know how to put it out there. So, there's so many avenues you can take, and just to do a lot of research and to plan it all as much as you can.
And so if you're online, obviously if you're not in the Bay Area, it sounds like searching online, so maybe some
definitely.
auction site or Craigslist would work. And then, so you go and, financing, let's just briefly talk about that. You're a brand new restaurant. You come into, let's say I'm a banker, you come to me and I look at you and I go, hey, Hisham, I don't want to break your heart, but most restaurants fail. I'm not going to lend you $100,000 or $200,000 or whatever you needed. So what do you recommend to someone who's watching today? Is like, well, I'm unemployed. I have $100 to my name. How do I get funded so I can go buy a truck, so that I can sort of launch my food truck business? Right. Where do I go to get financing?
Well, most banks probably won't finance you unless you already have things in existing or you have collateral. But again, I would put together a really good business plan and really dive deep into the numbers and try to think of every situation and how you would handle it in your business plan. Create excitement in it, and along with that plan, try to get some capital investors, people who believe in your plan and people who believe in you. When people, and this is advice to any investor, to anything, specifically food, let's leave it there. And this is advice to you trying to create the concept. Your passion has to show. When people invest, especially in food business, they're into the concept, but they're most likely investing in the person. Yeah. Invest in the person. Who's going to be the person driving this and giving it resilience and fight and passion and believe in their plan, believe in that person. That's who you're investing in. That's where your money's going. It's not going to the concept. It's going to the person. Do you see what I'm saying? So, and you trying to look for investors or trying to look for people for capital, show that fight, show that passion in your plan. Get out there and just show it. You mentioned things like my food is great and our food is great and all that, but this is just us having a great time. I mean, this is easy for us. The cooking part is the easy part, because that is the fun part for us, and whatever the concept may be, make sure you find somebody who's super passionate about what they're doing, if you're going to invest into whatever. Right.
So you mentioned talking to people, and they're investing in you, or they're investing in someone who's sort of leading this effort. Can you tell us about sort of and you can just share sort of a story of why someone, for example, wouldn't want to invest in like a vision? Is it because they don't see it? Is it because they don't want to risk it? It sounds like you have this sort of drive and energy and fire, and it comes from somewhere. Was there someone or something that happened to you that you were turned away and you sort of felt like you had something to prove? Or where does this passion come from? Because you can probably tell in this interview, Shem has a lot of passion. Yeah. And where does that fire come from? Was there someone, because I could tell you where my passion comes from. I've had, my whole life was full of disbelievers, from my high school professors, from, all throughout school. I wasn't that great in school. Most people think, well, wow, you're a professor now at the university, you have a master's, you have a civil, you have all these degrees. It doesn't matter. Everybody learns differently. Everybody performs differently. And in life, we're full of people who are disbelievers, people who are essentially what I call the haters. And I've talked to you about this in the past. So I'm just curious, where does this fire come from? Is there something, or were you turned away and all of a sudden you're like, I'm going to prove you all wrong? Where does it come from?
Winston Churchill quoted, and I just put this on my social media. Winston Churchill quoted, "Success is defined by moving from failure to failure without losing enthusiasm." And I 100% believe in that quote. You have to embrace failure. Embrace it. Welcome it. Take it and keep going. I have been told no more times than you could ever imagine. Wow. In this business, food business is very challenging. Every day there's surprises, and you don't give up. Just don't give up. If you believe in something and you truly believe in it and you know it's going to work, don't give up. Keep going. Accept the failure. Accept the losses. I was literally in shouting matches at the DMV trying to get my registration for my food truck. I was literally been told no so many times through the city, through the counties, and I just have to ask for their manager and their superior to get what we wanted, right? And I can't tell you the fight that's in me that really wanted this business for not only myself but for my team to survive. I wasn't going to take no for an answer. You don't take no for an answer, but sometimes you do. If you know that something is not working, you got to take the no and then keep going. But you get what I'm saying. So, yeah, I mean, the fight comes naturally within me because I'm so passionate about what I'm doing. I love food. I love hospitality. And I just want to be, personally, a personal goal of mine, I'd like to be a reflection of what hospitality should be. I really, really do. I really like to get my personal message out there and show people that, you know, the empathy within me is natural, and and it comes from the passion of this industry, you know. So
that's great. I mean, we'll talk about fire. So let's just sort of jump into that. So you mentioned, you know, issues that come up. So let's talk to the viewers about some of the hurdles. Okay, so you start the food truck. We talked about capital investment. Maybe just briefly just run through like a timeline of, okay, I have a truck now, just from A to Z. Okay, so what steps do I got to take once I have the truck to launch my food truck business?
Oh, well, once you have the truck, that is the biggest, hardest part right there. So when you have the truck, you got to make sure that it was a California build, so you need something called an insignia. An insignia is, you know what that is, right? That was something I found out about. Boom, right there. What the hell is an insignia? I had to Google it and figure out because I bought my food truck out of state, and that was a big mistake. Don't buy your food truck out of state. Okay, next thing. So you got to say you got to get it approved by the Sacramento or something over there in the department, and then going to the DMV, getting it registered, and then you have to go through an inspection at the DMV. Once you finally get your registration from the DMV, because you supposedly bought your food truck out of country, like out of state, like me. You have to then go and fill out the proper paperwork, which I would say get in advance on that before you go to the DMV. Fill out the proper paperwork for the health department, so because they are really slow moving. No offense to them, they have a lot on their plate. And then you know, so you could set up an appointment depending on the county you want to be in. And then once you have that, you need a commissary kitchen. You need somewhere where you could park your truck. If you're in the city of Santa Clara County, you cannot park your truck in your backyard. So it needs to be somewhere where there's grease traps, where you can dump your water, where all of that stuff, right? I did mention Lee's Industrial Crating. There's a really good place off of Gish Road. So that's in Santa Clara County. Yep. So you set that up at, you know, I think right now it's like $65 a day. Yee-hoo. And so the costs are going up. And then so that will also require you to have a kitchen to where you prep your food. You need to have a real health certified kitchen restaurant like this one where you prep your food. And so as you can see, you probably would need a delivery van to go pick up your food and bring it to the food truck, right? So from there, so that you get to health department. The business license. Yes, the fun part. Depending on which city you're talking about, I would recommend San Jose City is probably the easiest one to get the business license from. But there are very different ways to get a business license depending on the city you're in. And some cities are harder than others. So this is just the beginning, and this all takes months and months and months, right? And not lo and behold, in between all of that, there are little things like, the sink is not put in right. This is not in right. Your food truck isn't correct. Your food truck is not starting. Like all these little things. We need new tires. We need blah, blah, blah. Like all these little things just pop up every single day. You know, I'm telling you, my mind's about to explode. I feel like I'm forgetting 40 things to say right now. You know, I'm gonna get in the car literally after this conversation. It's like, shit, I should have said that. You know, because that's something I had to deal with. You know, but you know, all of that right now goes back to the question before this one. Do not give up. Just keep going, make a list, and tackle it every day. You are the only person that can do it. If you are starting this business, you're the only one that can get it done. So get it done. Do not procrastinate on any of it.
And so, you know, a lot of what you said is true. I mean, I've had my own food truck too, and it is a very long process. And I had a dessert food truck, so it was freezers and fridges. And so, yeah, you get your business license, and then you have to go to the health department, and they have varying conditions depending on what county you're in. So whatever county you're in, you can go to a different county and they're going to be like, well, we won't approve this.
Yep.
And Santa Clara County, we're in the Bay Area. Santa Clara County is one of the most difficult counties ever. I've seen things get approved in like Alameda County and not approved in Santa Clara County. And imagine we're doing a dessert truck and they're asking for vents when we have a food truck where all the equipment is like ventilated from the front of the machine. And they're like, oh no, you need to have side vents. And a lot of these health departments, they're not mechanics. They don't understand how food trucks work. They're just there to inspect. And it's very black and white. It's very to the manual, to the book. And so it's easy to get frustrated. And we know in this business, when you have, like you said, a 40, 50, $100,000 investment, time is money. Time is money. You do not make money until the moment you open to the public, till the moment you sell. And so it's amazing out there when I see people who complain about prices of food trucks and, oh, they're expensive. And they don't realize that it's literally a restaurant on wheels. And in order to get to that, in order to be able to operate one, you have, like you said, the peddler's permit, right? This idea that you have to have a permit because you're going to be scattered throughout the city in different areas. Health permits, business licenses, labor, food costs. You mentioned halal food. We know halal food is what? It has a premium cost. So the next time you shop at a food truck, understand that there is a lot of cost associated with running a food.
Yeah.
And that's why your prices tend to be higher. And that's what we found. And we always manage to, and you have to obviously run the analysis and calcs, but honestly, hats off to you for creating that, because it is not an easy process. No. And there are so many, I'm sure there were so many times where you said, can I do this?
Yeah.
And it comes down to that fire that we talked about. So awesome to you. So let's just sort of wrap up here. I do want to talk about your brand, Orale Habibi, and how we can get people involved who want to join this sort of movement of halal Mexican food. It's awesome, guys. Honestly, this is a great movement. But the last thing I want to talk about is community building, because I ran franchises and we did a lot of community building. And community building to me, guys, is you support your local Boy Scouts, your local clubs, and your school clubs, high schools, you name it, churches, whatever you're passionate about, or people. And one of the things that I noticed about you, hands off, like you are doing so much community building. You've done like someone, that family who lost their father, and you did that, the fundraiser for them. You've done stuff for Palestine. You've done so many different things. Talk about the importance of community building and how that's affected your brand awareness and how it sort of made you successful.
Oh man, it derives from who I am as a person and who we are as a team. We are people, we're humanitarians, and there's so much you can do that would cause a big splash for people to come and create a good splash, and for people to come and want to even taste your food. You get involved. Just be involved with whatever's going on in whatever city you choose to be in. There's so much out there, and just no one's ever turned away somebody who wanted to come out and help. And the foundation of El Halal Amigos, the foundation is charity. We come from humble beginnings. We know how hard it is out there. We know that we're in the middle of a pandemic. Everybody needs help right now. Everyone needs help all the time, pandemic or not. And we believe that the more you give, the more you receive. And maybe that is the Muslim inside of us, and we know that we cannot ask for anything from anyone in our community if we weren't a part of it. We're not out here to make millions of dollars right now. We're not out here to reach that long goal of a brick and mortar right now. Right now, we're just out here trying to survive, and so is everybody else. We want to be a reflection of unity. El Halal Amigos is a few infused with Arabic and Mexican language, and we're in a melting pot of the Bay Area in America, and we want to represent what unity should be about. And that's the whole point and purpose of Orale Habibi and the brand behind it, is that it's okay that we come from different backgrounds, and there's so much to offer out there and so much to give. And right now I'm just laying it all out right now. But charity is a huge part of what we do. Huge.
Yeah, and it's like great because food brings people together, and like you said, different cultures, I go to your food truck and there's all these different cultures, different types of people who just want good quality halal Mexican food.
Definitely.
You meet people, you network with people. So congratulations on all your success. Thank you so much for doing this interview and showing our viewers how to start a food truck business, your story. Hopefully you guys are motivated. If you're motivated, please definitely leave a comment in that video. Let us know. And more importantly, I want to know, like, for our viewers out there, if they want to, order a t-shirt, order a hat, get more involved.
Yeah.
Of course, if you're not in the Bay Area, definitely it's worth to drive. I've seen people drive hours for your food. But how can they get involved with the brand? How can they support the brand? Where can they find the brand?
So Orale Habibi is our motto and slogan for El Halal Amigos, and it is our clothing brand that we are starting. Orale Habibi derives deep within me personally and my staff, as everyone knows the word Orale, everybody knows the word Habibi, and it kind of shows what we are with unity. And you can get a lot of this stuff right now, which we're launching our hats, our shirts. I'm working on jackets, but I'm really excited to start launching hijabs as well that say Orale Habibi on it. Just for now, it's a simple DM on Instagram, or very soon it's going to be on our website where you can order, and inshallah we can send it to you. So that is something that's coming up in the next month or two. Be on the lookout for it, and inshallah we see Orale Habibi all the way around the world.
Orale Habibi!
And is the website up and running yet? Or
our website is up. Our website's up, but not for we're gonna have a brand, an area where you can make purchases on a tab.
Okay.
And
what's the website?
Yeah, on the website, and then the website is elhalalamigos.com.
Okay, so elhalalamigos.com.
www.elhalalamigos.com. Check it out, or just for now, if you really want it now, you can. You may have to come to the food truck, but which is fine, because we'll give you some tacos. But just send me a simple DM and we'll put one on the side for you.
Awesome. All right, guys. Well, thanks again, Hisham, for your time. I know you're a very busy guy, working really hard. And for you guys, like I said, if you've learned a lot, if there's something that you have a question on, I'll have Hisham respond to any comments on this video. And again, thank you so much for your time. Best of luck with your business, and best of luck to you guys if you're interested in starting a food truck business. My name is Hamza Chowdhury. Thanks for joining us today, and have a good night. Take care. Bye-bye.